Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into AI and what it means for healthcare professionals, especially for those of you who, like me, might not be super tech savvy.
It's definitely a hot topic.
It is, and we've got some really interesting presentation slides from this year's GEAS meeting in Spain.
Oh, I did see some things about that on Twitter, actually. It seemed to be a big hit.
Yeah, it looks like it was a really well-attended conference. And the cool thing about this presentation is it's not about the nitty-gritty algorithms and all that.
Yeah.
It's really geared towards giving healthcare professionals, people like us, a practical toolkit for using AI.
A toolkit, that's a great way to put it. And it makes it much less intimidating for those of us who aren't, computer scientists.
Right, exactly. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I hear AI and I immediately think like, oh, I need a PhD to even understand this.
It can be a bit like that.
But this presentation kicks off with this really great analogy that I think makes it much more approachable. They compare different types of AI to different types of medication.
Okay, I like that.
So just like you wouldn't prescribe the same medication for every single ailment,
Right.
you wouldn't use the same AI tool for every task.
That makes a lot of sense.
And that actually leads right into what I thought was one of the key takeaways from this presentation. It's that AI, at its core, is a tool. It's a branch of computer science that's focused on creating systems that can learn, almost on their own.
Yeah, it's amazing how much progress has been made with that.
Isn't it incredible? To solve problems and to
Yeah.
really handle complex tasks. So, a lot of times when people talk about AI in healthcare, I think there's this immediate fear that, oh, it's going to replace doctors or it's going to replace nurses.
Right, there's definitely anxiety around that.
But really what this presentation emphasizes is that it's more about augmenting our abilities as healthcare providers.
Absolutely. It's about working with AI, not being replaced by it. And the presentation actually makes the point that we're already interacting with AI all the time.
Oh, for sure.
And we probably don't even realize it, like spam filters in your email or those personalized recommendations you get online. AI is already all around us.
Yeah, when you think about it that way, it's like we're already living with AI. We're just now making it so much more advanced.
Exactly. And these recent breakthroughs are what's really pushing the boundaries of what AI can do, particularly in healthcare, which is really exciting.
It feels like we're on the verge of this huge shift in how we diagnose and treat, even prevent diseases.
Definitely. And the presentation, I love how they visualize this with this branching tree metaphor. Have you ever seen those diagrams where they show like the evolution of different species?
Yeah, like a family tree almost.
It's kind of like that. They start with machine learning and deep learning at the roots. Like those are the fundamental building blocks of AI. And then it branches out into these different areas of application.
Oh, okay.
So you have branches for things like natural language processing, which is where AI is learning to understand and communicate like we do. And then there's robotics, which obviously has huge implications for things like surgery and patient care in general. Imagine, AI-powered robots assisting in these really complex surgical procedures,
Right.
making them much less invasive for the patient, faster recovery times.
Yeah, that would be incredible. And for the surgeons, too.
Absolutely, for
Yeah.
everyone involved. And then there's generative AI.
Which we've been hearing a lot about lately.
Yeah, it's everywhere right now. We'll definitely be diving into that more later. But for now, I think it's best to focus on two specific branches highlighted in the presentation. The first is discriminative AI, and then the second is generative AI. Both of these hold incredible potential for healthcare.
Okay, so tell me more about discriminative AI. What does that even mean, and how does it work in a practical sense?
So imagine a world where AI is helping doctors diagnose diseases not only faster, but with even greater accuracy. And we're talking about like analyzing these huge data sets, things like patient records, medical imaging, even someone's genetic information to detect these subtle patterns that we might miss as humans.
That's incredible. So it's almost like having this extra set of like expert eyes on every single case, helping you catch things earlier.
Exactly. Enhancing our abilities, not replacing them, which is really important to remember.
Right, because I think that's the fear, right? That AI will become so advanced it's going to take over. But really, it sounds like it's about, again, empowering healthcare professionals to provide even better care.
Exactly. And you know what? Speaking of more practical applications, the presentation then shifts gears from these broader concepts to some really specific tools that healthcare professionals can start using today, right now.
Okay, let's hear it. What kind of tools are we talking about?
Well, they break it down into 5 key areas. and they start with productivity. And I bet you can guess what they highlight here.
Is it Microsoft Copilot? That seems to be what everyone's talking about these days.
Exactly. It's all over this presentation.
Really?
They highlight how Copilot can streamline so many tasks, especially within Microsoft Office, which, let's face it, a lot of us are living in those programs all day.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you're in administration, like, forget it, you're living in your inbox.
Oh, I know. Tell me about it. So they're highlighting how Copilot can help you manage your inbox, schedule things, even draft reports. Wow.
And I think what's really appealing, especially to people who might be a little bit hesitant to embrace AI, is that it integrates with tools you're already using every day.
Yeah.
So there's not this steep learning curve.
That's a really good point, because I think a lot of times we get intimidated, like, ugh, learning a new piece of software, or, like, where do I even begin?
Exactly.
But if it's something that you can kind of seamlessly integrate.
Exactly. And it just makes you more efficient.
Yeah, like it just enhances what you're already doing.
Exactly. And that's just the beginning. The presentation then moves on to content creation.
Okay.
And this is where things get really visually interesting.
Okay, now you've got my attention, because I am always looking for ways to make my presentations, patient materials, things like that, more engaging. So what are we talking about here? Well, they're talking about tools like Ideogram and Canva, which are using AI to kind of revolutionize how we approach creating visual content.
Okay.
So imagine being able to generate these really stunning graphics, presentations, even infographics tailored for, a medical audience with just a couple of clicks.
Wow. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I am not a visual person. I can barely make a bar graph look good. So when I hear about this kind of thing, I get very, very excited.
Yeah, and it can be so powerful because visuals are such an important way, especially when you're talking about something as complex as medicine, to get information across to patients in a way that's easy to understand.
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes a really well-designed visual is worth, 1,000-word explanation.
Exactly. But it goes beyond just presentations and visuals. The presentation then goes into this whole other area called health agents.
Health agents. Okay, now I'm really curious.
Yeah.
What are those?
So think of tools like Lola and Hippocratic AI. These are like virtual assistants, but they have all of this medical knowledge built in, so they can help you do things like manage appointments or provide reliable information directly to patients, or even, and this is where it gets really interesting, offer preliminary diagnoses based on symptoms.
Wow. Preliminary diagnoses. Okay. So it's almost like AI is stepping into the role of a healthcare provider, even if it's in this, limited capacity for now.
Yeah, it's a glimpse into the future, and obviously there are still a lot of questions to be answered there, but the potential is huge.
It's exciting, but also a little whoa.
I know. It's a lot to take in.
It is, how rapidly things are changing and how much potential there is. It's a little awe-inspiring.
And speaking of the future, they also talk about something called ambient AI, and they give some examples of this, like Llama Index and Relicitin. Do you know Relicitin?
I don't think so.
It's also known as RECEG, and this basically paints a picture of a smart hospital where AI is kind of constantly working in the background like a silent partner.
So we're talking about AI that's monitoring patient vitals, maybe anticipating their needs, alerting staff to potential problems, before they even arise.
Exactly. It's about creating this very proactive, responsive healthcare environment where technology is kind of seamlessly integrated into the delivery of care. Imagine hospitals that aren't just reacting to things that are happening, but are almost like predicting and anticipating, helping us provide even better, more personalized treatment.
That sounds amazing. I mean, I think for any healthcare professional to have that, that extra layer of support where you've got something constantly monitoring and analyzing data, helping you stay ahead of things.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
Sign me up.
Right. It's a powerful vision for the future. But before we get too caught up in all these really cutting-edge futuristic tools, they also brought it back to something that I know is a huge pain point for a lot of healthcare professionals, which is the sheer volume of information that we have to sift through.
Oh my gosh. Yes. You're preaching to the choir here. I swear, I spend half my life reading research articles, going through databases. It's never ending.
It's overwhelming. You're not alone. And that's why they dedicate a whole section to search assistants.
Search assistants. Okay, tell me more. I like the sound of that already. So these search assistants, are they like search engines, but designed specifically for healthcare?
Exactly. Think of them as super-powered search engines that cut through all the noise and give you exactly what you need without having to go down a million rabbit holes.
Okay.
They highlight perplexity and elicit.
Okay. So where do we find these?
Well, a lot of these are available for anyone to try. In fact, the presentation actually ends with this starter kit of AI tools that they encourage people to check out.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it. What's in the starter kit?
Well, first up, they really recommend trying out Microsoft Copilot. If you haven't already, you can find it at copilot.microsoft.com and just see how it can kind of like weave into your daily workflow and maybe free up some of your mental space for the things that, really matter.
I like it. What's next?
They also highlight Perplexity, and you can find them at perplexity.com. And they actually argue that this is a much better way to do research, especially medical research,
Right.
than your traditional Google search.
It makes sense because if it understands medical terminology,
Exactly.
it could save you so much time.
Exactly.
Okay, what else is in the starter kit?
Let's see. Oh, humata.ai. And this one's really cool because it helps you analyze and pull information from your own files.
Oh, wow.
So all those patient records, research articles, all that stuff that we just get buried in.
Yes.
This can actually help you quickly find what you need within your own files.
That'd be amazing.
Game changer.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, they go back to that visual content creation and say, definitely check out Ideogram. That's at ideogram.ai. And you can use that to create all these like really stunning visuals, whether it's for a presentation or patient materials, even publications.
That's amazing. I am definitely going to check that one out. This has been so interesting. It really seems like AI has the potential to completely change how we work as healthcare providers.
I completely agree. And I love how this presentation made it so practical.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about like the big ideas. It was really about here's how you can actually start using these tools today.
It's empowering. It feels like this is the future of healthcare. We have to embrace this.
We do. And we have to help shape it, make sure that it's being used in a way that benefits everybody.
Absolutely. It's not about AI taking over. It's about AI helping us be better at what we do.
Exactly.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. Thank you so much for breaking it all down for us.
Of course. It's been a pleasure.
And for everyone listening, be sure to check out the show notes. We will have links to all the tools that we talked about, and we'll see you next time.